Hello, and my name is Pete Rushmer, and I'm your host today of A Half Dozen Things podcast. A Half Dozen Things is a podcast for business owners just like you. Whether you're an underdog hungry for success, or you're already smashing it but want to continue to level up, we are here each week for you to get insight and learning from the very best in the business. No fluff, no BS, and no self-proclaimed gurus talking about how easy business or life is.
Hello people of LinkedIn and Facebook. And if you're listening on Half Dozen Things podcast, welcome to today's Lunchtime Live. You may be listening to this at any time if you're listening to the pre-recorded version, but it's lunchtime somewhere, right? So it could be a lunchtime live for you. Fairly unplanned, actually. I'm actually on site at a client, so I'm going to be delivering some training shortly. So had a bit of a busy morning, been interviewing for a couple of roles for the flagship business. And really pleased to be back live again after a little bit of time away. Maggie and I had a bit of a holiday in Mexico, which was absolutely beautiful. Highly recommend Mexico if you manage to get away there. It's amazing. So, but anyway, you're not here to listen to me talk about holiday, but interestingly, I am here to talk about the six principles, or my 6 principles for time management, and they're 6 laws for success. And there's something I'm going to be talking about in a training course shortly with some clients. And I thought, you know what, whilst I've got a bit of time, I'm a bit prepared. And I thought I'd do a cheeky live on Facebook and LinkedIn, because I haven't done one for ages, and I thought I'd say hello to everyone. Do you know what? I had some fantastic feedback from a listener for the podcast yesterday, which really sort of pumped my tires up a little bit. She said she'd been listening to the podcast, listened to the backstory, and really loved the way we approach stuff, and was looking to join the Fleet Geeks peer-to-peer group. And do you know what? It's made me really chuffed. And sometimes I'm too busy. Interestingly, this is sort of the point of this time management exercise, is that sometimes I'm too busy to do a lunchtime live, and what that really means is I'm not prioritizing my time well enough to get online and to share my thoughts, whatever they may be. So next time you think that you're going to try to do something, or next time you think, oh, I'm too busy to do that, actually it's not that you don't have the time. It's potentially that it's not a priority for you right now, or maybe some of these principles are going to resonate with you. So the 6 principles, the first one is Carlsons Law, and what that means is uninterrupted time is the most efficient. Now, it can be really, really difficult for people at work when you've got other colleagues around, or maybe you're working from home and you've got one of these, and these are one of the worst things. And the thing is you get interrupted regularly. The phone rings, or a text goes off, or an email notification comes in. For all the time, we're being bombarded with interruptions. And the issue with that, and allowing ourselves to become interrupted, is that makes us far less efficient at whatever it is we're trying to do. So Carlson's Law is about ensuring, to improve our time management, ensuring that we are as efficient as we can be by minimizing interruptions. So what does that look like? Well, that might be turning off the notifications on your phone. It might even be actually, God, heaven forbid, switching your phone off whilst you carry out an important task, because once you're going into an important or complex task, you want to ensure you remain focused. Every time you get interrupted during a complex process, it's gonna cause you more wasted time, whilst you try and get your headspace back into, and your flow back into the work that you're carrying out. So that one in a nutshell is Carlson's Law. Again, this is just a quick live, so I'm not going to go into too much depth about these. I could talk all day long about them, but absolutely, it makes total sense. It is uncommon sense. Uninterrupted time ensures that you are most efficient at whatever task you're carrying out. The second one is around Pareto's law. So this is an interesting one that gets quoted quite a lot of times. And if you've ever heard of the 80-20 principle, this is the same thing. So the idea that you spend 80% of your time actually on 20% of the things that give impact, and actually the 20% of your time that you spend doing things has 80% of the impact. So this is about thinking about the things. Do you know what? I need to spend more time making maximum impact on things. And actually, if I'm spending 80% of my time misspent doing the things that aren't having impact, having that lowest 20% of impact, then I need to sort of refocus. So Pareto's law is very much about prioritizing, thinking about the things that give most and have most impact on your workload, on your time pressures, and ensuring that you're prioritizing that time effectively. So that's Pareto's law, and very interesting. Think about the customers that you have, for example. 80% of your customers may only account for 20% of your profits, and 20% of your customers account for 80% of your profits. So what happens if you focus more on those 20% that are giving you the maximum return? That then will give you a maximum return on your time as well. So time is always of the essence. It is our most precious resource. I argue this regularly. People often think that money is the most precious resource, but actually time is. We can't make more time. And all of those, it does sound a bit twee when people talk about it, but ultimately time is really, really valuable for people. It's very, very important, because once it's past and you can't get it back. So making sure that we manage time effectively and prioritize ourselves does make us most effective and most productive.
Hi, it's Pete from Flagship Partners. We're proud to sponsor a Half Dozen Things podcast. Flagship Partners help their clients become safer, greener, and greater through a range of consultancy and training services. We offer audits through to risk assessments, contracts through to support with managing your culture, all the way from mandatory training through to management training as well. So if you need any support, please do get in touch with Flagship Partners today.
So the third law is Parkinsons Law, which is around the fact that work expands to fill a vacuum. Sorry, get my words out properly. So the amount of time that you allow to carry out a task is the amount of time that it will take. And essentially, it leads a little bit into one of the other laws. But think about this, that actually, if you allocate 2 hours to carry out a task, chances are you might have actually been able to carry out that task in an hour. Are you actually perceiving how long you really need to carry out that task? So and what will happen is when you're actually into it, if you've set aside 2 hours to do it, then guess what, the time's going to expand to do it. You might be over egging it. You might not actually need that amount of time to be doing it. So just one to think about. And oftentimes you can dread doing a certain task because you're going to need lots and lots of time to do it, and actually you're surprised because it hasn't taken as long, particularly if you've got other time pressure, so you need to get onto something else. So that's always one to bear in mind. I like the fourth law. The fourth law always makes me smile, which is Murphy's Law, and the one that I've prepared here. And those that know Murphy's Law is the one that what can go wrong will go wrong. And obviously, if it can go wrong and it will go wrong, that's going to negatively impact your time as well. So we're all subject to trying to set aside time to do important tasks, but sometimes stuff reactively happens and we just have to deal with it. So it's important, if we're looking to plan our day or plan our week or plan our month, we always need to factor in Murphy's Law, which is that, the best laid plans often go awry, and it's normally because of Murphy's Law. That's whatever can go wrong has and will go wrong. So we try and plan the best we can. We try and be as effective with our time as we can be, but actually sometimes things just go wrong. So having a plan in place, particularly for when things do go wrong, what is your emergency strategy? What is your plan? What do you do when this happens, so that you can just default away, particularly when things are very stressful, because it's very hard when things are stressful and you really struggle. And if you have a team of people, can you delegate those things to those people so that they can be reactive, which enables you as a leader, as a manager, as a fleet manager, whatever your role may be, to effectively manage your time so you're most productive and most effective at that time. The fifth law is called Illichs Law, and I really like this one because it's something that I've spent a lot of time getting to know myself, and it links again with the final law, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But Illichs Law is around your circadian rhythm, around knowing yourself best. So some people, ever heard people talk about being a morning person or an evening person, or they work best in the afternoon, or whatever it may be? Well, it's important to let me just have a quick look here. And time's going fine. I just needed to check in on the time. Illichs Law is around your circadian rhythm. It's about knowing yourself. So firstly, for me, it's really important that I know what times are best for me. I know that if I try and attack something complicated, in the afternoon, I'm going to fail miserably at it because I haven't got the patience, I haven't got the concentration, and that's not when I work best. So the best time for me to carry out a complex task or to do something which is tricky, or maybe something that I'm putting off that I don't really want to do, anything like that that's going to be time consuming and needs a lot of my energy and focus, I have to do first thing in the morning. I might even schedule my alarm a little bit earlier to get myself up, because that's when I work best. When things are quiet, all of the other laws are met because things that can go wrong aren't going wrong. Carlsons Law about not being interrupted. And I know that I work best at that time. Some people might be better off later in the evening, similar situation, and they might work better at that time. But I know for me, from Ilitchs Law point of view, I work best in the morning. So if I need to do something complicated, there's no point me trying to waste my time in the afternoon. So what I then do is, when I plan my time, when I plan my week, is I will plan to ensure that I carry out complex, more strategic type tasks that take a lot of time, energy and focus. I plan for the morning, and things like meetings and people stuff and things where it's not so taxing necessarily on my brain, and I can just get involved with people and do things like that, I tend to organise for later on in the day, because it's not so taxing on my little pea brain that I have. So the final law, the sixth law, just running out of time here. Look at that, me managing the time effectively. I'm trying to get it done in 12 minutes, but I think I'm going to struggle. Is Frasers Law, which is the fact, this is this thing when, that didn't seem to take as long as I thought it was going to. So that's Frasers Law, which means time is subjective. And ultimately, people think that time is their enemy, but actually we need to know what our enemy is. And time isn't our enemy. Our enemy is ourselves. And the fact that we enjoy doing certain things and the time passes quicker means that we're far more likely to go ahead and do those things that we enjoy, rather than doing the things that we really ought to do. It's a bit like my dad always used to say, you make sure work before play. You make sure you get your work done before you go and play, for example. And rightly or wrongly, that ethos has lived with me forever. Some people may say that that's actually the wrong ethos, but certainly I always try to think, what is it that I'm putting off? And that's Frasers Law. What am I putting off because I don't really enjoy doing it? And I'm putting it aside, and I continue to do the easy things. And people are doing this all the time, day in, day out. They're just responding to their emails. They're trying to empty their inbox, and the big stuff, the project type stuff, is getting left behind. And the excuse will always be, I haven't had time for the project because my emails never stop going off. The phone never stops ringing. But the thing is it's easy to respond to emails. It's easy to answer the phone, and it's difficult to get ourselves in the mindset to do the bigger project work. So there I am, 12 minutes. I've managed that time effectively. I hope this has been useful. And obviously drop your comments. How do you manage your time? How do you schedule work effectively for yourself? I'd love to know, and I hope it's been useful. Take care now. Bye-bye.
I really hope you loved today's episode, and if you did, please make sure you subscribe and listen out for future episodes too. Please do share it across your social media channels. We hope to reach more and help more people. If you want to find out more about me, my name's Pete Rushmer. You'll find me across any social media channel, and my business, Flagship Partners, and we're your partners in success across your business. Thank you. See you again soon.